scaling up really quickly. Like, you don't have time to sit in a room and like hash it all out together. And by the time you've reinvented it, you got to reinvent it again.
Yeah.
Like that would happen all the time. We come up with a solution to something, and then like a week later, it's like, well, that's out the window, isn't it? Like, let's go again. But I think what was the common factor with us all was that we really wanted it to work.
Right.
So there's
on the goal type thing.
There's so much energy in that place for like people wanting it to work, because we're just people from Birmingham that are just trying to do cool shit.
Yeah.
And like that's not common. Like, as we've already discussed, everything was in London at that point. They were one of the first brands
to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. We spoke about an environment that encourages failure. How was it at Gymshark?
Great. Yeah.
And what is
best of all the time?
Yeah. Was that just internally? Like, how do they look at that? How did you look at that in those teams?
Oh, they failed publicly as well.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, like failed publicly. I think it was very much just a case of that didn't work, but we've got to move on to the next thing. No, I don't really recall a time that anyone would get pulled into a room. I think I got pulled into a room once mid-project, and the CBO looked at me, and the project manager was like, I think he'd seen one edit of a video and didn't like it.
Right.
But it was really raw. It was in like its first draft process.
Yeah.
He pulled us in the room and he looked at us and he was like, you two need to sort this shit out. And I was like a school child getting told off. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I looked at the project manager and we were just both like, oh. But literally, like, I'd say an hour later, he looked at the new edit and he was like, nailed it. Like, it wasn't, you weren't allowed to fail. It was like, get this shit sorted because we don't have time. Like, let's go.
Is there a level of transparency there in terms of what's the direction, what's that not the direction then?
I think that's really tricky in a brand like that.
Yeah.
Because there were visions. We'd always have like a company day and like, you know, this is what we want to do. But even the people at the top were figuring it out. Like, what's the audience saying? What's the feedback? Like, what products are selling well? You know, like, what does the brand need to do? And we took it off on some tangents. Like, I worked on those projects. Like, we went big on diversity and inclusion. Like, I worked on an amazing Pride campaign. We had like dancers and like rollerbladers, and like we just went crazy at one point.
Yeah.
And now they've gone back. It was actually as I was leaving, they went back to square one, like back to what they're known for. But it takes that exploration for you to get back to what you actually should be doing. I would argue without us going off and doing all these different things, the importance of going back to we do gym would never really have come about, or at least not that quickly.
Yeah, because again, the trying and the tasting, which is your environment, I guess, is like, let's try it and see if it works. And if it doesn't, great. If it does, also great. Like, there's two sides to that.